Why many Nigerians have taken to the media to celebrate and thank God over a near tragic incident that happened with Air Peace flight, Boeing 737-300. Unfortunately, but very fortunately, while this aircraft was landing at the Porthacourt runway, the aircraft incidentally veered off the runway. But glory be to the Almighty God, the aircraft finally landed safely without any injuries. And as can be seen from this very video clip, passengers were seen, taking their luggages from that very aircraft while celebrating, thanking God, and recounting what could have possibly been the situation. Well, while we celebrate God that incidentally there was no injuries, there was no fatality, it is also a continuous reminder to every one of us in this physical world that tomorrow is not promised. Yes, no matter your title, your position, and material acquisition, tomorrow is not promised. We are simply living by the promises of the living God, that so long that the Lord lives, we shall see tomorrow. Similarly, the Indian Air authorities have finally released what is called a preliminary report over the tragic incident of the Air India air crash that took place precisely on the 12th of June 2025, where Indian aircraft Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, which was traveling from India down to the United Kingdom from the Ahmedabad city of Gujarat in India. But very unfortunately and very sadly, this very aircraft crashed immediately, few minutes, just less than 1 minute after taking off from the runway, crashing into the roof of a nearby College of Medicine near the airport, taking countless lives of over 280 persons immediately. The Indian Air authorities, in collaboration with Boeing experts, General Electrics, and some other experts across United States of America, UK, and Canada, eventually came up with a preliminary report which speculates or points further what could have been the reason for that very Air Indian crash. It was stated from that very report that fuel control switches, the fuel control lever for the aircraft, was turned off as at the time the aircraft was taking off. They confirmed this very information through a voice recorder from the cockpit between the two pilots who were flying the aircraft, and that is one Mr. Sumit Subrawal, who is the master monitoring pilot with over 3 decades of experience in flying. In fact, this very man had accumulated about approximately 16,000 flying hours. He's a 56-year-old pilot who was waiting for his retirement shortly before that very tragic incident. The co-pilot is one Mr. Cliff Kunda, a 32-year-old professional who has accumulated for himself also about 3,000 hours of flying. The voice record was not very clear according to these investigators which of the pilot was making that comment, but from that very recorder they confirmed that one of the pilots was asking the other, why did you shut off the fuel supply system? Why did you shut off the fuel supply lever to the aircraft? There was no further information as the investigators maintained that they are still probing every available information and details to find out what actually happened. And for the singular reason that the fuel supply system was turned off, the jet engines lost supply of jet fuel. But according to them, it was shut off but later reconnected within fractions of seconds. But because of the abrupt, unprecedented, and unexpected shot in the supply of fuel to the engines, one of the engine, according to them, was able to light up and started, propelling and doing its job effectively, while the other engine was seen or found to be light up but could not do its job effectively. And as a result of this very incident, the aircraft lost thrust, which was supposed to enable the aircraft to propel and fly further into the atmosphere, gaining more altitude. But unfortunately, due to the loss in thrust, the aircraft crashed immediately. For more clarity, do not forget that thrust is simply but a force that propels an object forward. But in the line of aviation, line of business and craft, this very thrust or force is usually generated by jet engine.
And this thrust works in opposite direction against the force pushing the engine, such that it enables the aircraft to propel and move further, gaining altitude. But unfortunately, due to the shut off of this very fuel supply lever to the jet engines, the aircraft supposedly lost altitude. The aircraft supposedly crashed. There has been a lot of questions in the minds of many experts and individuals asking who could have turned off that very fuel supply system to the jet engine. Was it one of the pilots? If it is one of the pilots, why did he do that? There has been a very heated argument on whether the electronic system of the aircraft incidentally shut down the fuel supply system, or whether there has been somebody somewhere who did that very wicked act of shutting down the fuel supply system. According to investigators, they are still digging deep into this very matter to confirm in clarity what actually happened. More so, some experts are equally saying that some preliminary inspections that ought to have been done before the aircraft took off was not done, which includes inspecting and checking the fuel supply system to the jet engine. This also falls into the bucket of what the investigators are currently probing and digging deep into to unravel the mystery behind that very tragic incident that plunged many families across the world into perpetual mourning. Well, as we continue to hope that the right informations are made public as soon as possible in order to put up a corrective and preventive actions such that such a tragic incident does not repeat itself. It is equally a pleasure of mine to remind all of us once again that we are living only by the special grace of the Almighty God. Nothing in this life is actually assured or guaranteed, no matter the level of scientific guarantees and assurance behind its development or behind the craft. Because at that level, we only do and produce what we believe that is safe. But at that very ungodly, ugly hour, when the enemy will strike, I tell you, time and chance, time and season happens to all men. This is why I continually admonish every living being to celebrate life on daily basis, because certainly life is a gift. We glorify God in heaven, who has preserved the life of the passengers of Air Peace, which was leaving from Lagos State down to Porthacourt, and we equally continue to pray for the departed souls from that very Indian tragic air crash, that the good Lord will grant them eternal rest. At this point, I will allow you guys to be the judge. Don't forget to let me know what you think in the comment section and share this video. Man, another person see him. God bless you.